Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football Friday afternoon. The Michigan commitment sweatshirt coming back on, and this one just makes sense for Michigan, and quite frankly, a commitment that I personally really do like. Three-star offensive tackle Tommy Fraumann flipping his commitment from Miami of Ohio to Michigan. Now, three-star prospect for a reason. This is a kid that is going to need at least 2 years before he sees the football field up in Ann Arbor. But I'll say this, the ceiling is there. The upside is certainly there. Now, the reason I think this move makes sense for Michigan is you don't need him to play anytime soon, right? I mean, you look at the young tackles that Michigan has on this roster: Blake Frazier, Andrew Babalola coming back from the injury, Andrew Sprague. You look at a guy like Ty Haywood, those are four guys that have multiple years of eligibility left that we think are going to be really, really good tackles for Michigan over the next couple of years. You have afforded yourself the luxury to take a swing on Tommy Fraumann, who I truly believe has some monster upside as an offensive tackle, but it's just going to take a little bit before he gets there. A lot of programs across the country that need their tackles to play early because they haven't recruited the position well enough. Michigan's not one of those teams, and it allows them to take a kid like this. And the other thing I'll say is, look, we all know how hard it is to find tackles in the transfer portal. If you want to have quality offensive line play, you damn well better be recruiting these guys at the high school ranks. And Tommy Fromann's a guy that very well could be a starting tackle for Michigan somewhere down the road, but we don't need to force him into action earlier than he's ready. Know who he kind of reminds you of is a little bit of Blake Frazier, right? And Blake Frazier, to me, I am stunned with how good Blake Frazier is as a year two cat. I at least thought it was going to be year three before we saw Blake Frazier. Reminds you a little bit of Blake Frazier. Know who he also reminds you a little bit of? This is a little bit of a throwback. Go back to the 2018 class. Ryan Hayes. Michigan. Ryan Hayes played tight end at the high school ranks, but he was 6'7". He was 250. He was really lean, but he's a really good athlete and had that tackle build. Michigan takes him. They put the weight on him. Ryan Hayes ended up being a damn good football player for Michigan in the back half of his career. You're hoping for the same development from a kid like Tommy Fraumann. Now, we're going to get into a little bit of his junior year film, talk about what he brings to Michigan, because this is a player that I really do like. Before we get into it, as always, the Michigan fans, appreciate you guys. And, we said this the other day. I'll say it again. This is, let's just say it how it is. This is the time period where you see Michigan make moves on the recruiting trail. They did it last year. We are starting to see them do it again this year as well. And I would also guess that Michigan's going to get aggressive in the transfer portal as well. If you enjoy recruiting, if you enjoy roster building conversations, buckle in. We're going to have a lot to talk about. And again, to the Michigan fans, the support's been amazing. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into Tommy Fraumann. Let's go pros and cons here, right? Pros. 6'7", some real length to him. Here's the other thing I love about Tommy Fraumann. It's really hard to find guys that stand 6'7", and he is all of 6'7", and see him be light on his feet and see him hold up the way he does in pass protection. This kid moves extremely well for somebody that stands 6'7" tall. The other thing I like is he's plays with some power, and he knows how to play with good leverage. Sometimes the biggest struggle that these really big tackles have is, can you be powerful enough? Can you get your pads low enough to move bodies off the line of scrimmage? I mean, Tommy Fromann's a guy that we're going to turn on the film. Low man wins, and it's hard for a guy at 6'7" to be the low man. Like, Tommy Fraumann can do that. Like, there is some nice ankle knee flex where he can get low and be a powerful individual. Now, the con here is 6'7", 250, and he's probably not much more than 260 right now, right? He is a guy that, and again, Blake Frazier was around this weight when he got to Michigan. It is crazy what being in a Michigan strength and conditioning program can do to you. I mean, you can put on weight very, very quickly. And I always say this when it comes to tackle prospects, like give me the tackles who are leaner that need to add more weight as opposed to the tackles that are really big, sloppy, and don't have a ton of athleticism. Because I'll say this, it's much easier to put good weight on good athletes and maintain their athleticism than it is to try to take off bad weight from bad athletes, teach them to be athletes. Tommy Frauman's a guy that's a really good athlete. Just got to put some weight on him. And if you do that, there's a chance this kid can be a really damn good football player. And look, if he's not, if he doesn't make it, Michigan will be all right. Like they have afforded themselves the opportunity to take a risk on a kid like Tommy Fraumann. I want to pop on. I mean, I really like this kid because when you turn it on, look at the leverage of which he can play with. I mean, this is a guy that is not afraid to drop his pads and get low. You very, very rarely see tackles that are 6'7". Again, pad level, really, really good. Winning, low man wins, and we're moving bodies. I mean, he's a guy that's not necessarily the biggest, and he's really lengthy and tall. He can fire out of his stance and get low. Pull and play side, he's a good athlete. Again, you don't see a lot of tackles at the high school ranks show that kind of athleticism. Really comfortable in pass protection. Light on his feet, nice change of direction. Again, you're going to see a couple of really nice reps of pass pro. You see, like, okay, maybe we have to work a little bit on the anchor there. The pad level is probably not where it needs to be right here. Those feet move, man. He is light on his feet. He's a coordinated kid. This is probably his best pass protection rep. We're dealing with a little stunt here. Comes off of it, change of direction. I mean, that's the movement patterns that you like to see with these high school tackles. Now the thing is, hey, we just got to put some weight on them, develop a little bit more power output. If you do that, I think you can be a really good football player. Again, like Ryan Hayes, like Blake Frazier. Michigan has had a lot of success with those kind of tackles. Where to next? We'll see. And again, many of y'all know my take at this point. I feel really, really good about the 2026 cycle. The thing that I feel the best about is what we've done along the lines of scrimmage. Like, really like the forecast that we're taking on the offensive line. And it didn't need to be a massive haul because of how young we are on the offensive line right now. Quite frankly, there's just not a ton of room to add offensive linemen because of all the year one, year two guys that we think are damn good football players. Then the defensive line, Titan Davis, Alistair Vallejo, and then a laundry list of edge rushers who I think are difference makers. Wouldn't mind to see Michigan go out and land maybe one more big body in the middle of that defensive line. I probably prefer to have three. If it's Deuce Gerald's, I'd be over the moon. But I feel good. We'll see what it looks like with Havon Finney. I think Michigan will push for Havon Finney until he puts pen to paper to wherever he goes. But again, my take, and we don't have to get into it because we got into it yesterday. My overall take is that would like to see Michigan prioritize making sure they make the necessary additions in the transfer portal. And I've always been a guy that, hey, you have to recruit the high school ranks first, supplement in the portal. I think we got a high school class we like, but there are some glaring problems with this Michigan roster that, if addressed, can make this team really damn good in 2026. That, to me, is where I would like to see Michigan really focus their attention over the next couple of weeks and months, because last year we saw Michigan close on that 2025 class at an elite level, but it felt like they didn't have enough resources left to make the necessary additions in the portal. We got a lot of young talent on this roster. Now we just got to fill in the cracks with some difference makers at important positions, most notably wide receiver. Gonna be fun, buckle in. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.